Hi, everybody. This is 976 days, 976 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And let's see, my phone. I should have plugged it in. Um, it is. It's really very, very good news, but every time we get these, I have this hope. I have this hope that, okay, finally we'll find Richard. And I'm just, um, I'm just praying. 976 days, and you would not believe where this is going. And I'm going to show it to you tonight. Um, because this live stream is called Trump. This live stream is called Trump, and I'm going to tell you why. Hold on. My phone was about to die, and I didn't want it to die. Okay, so it's 10 o'clock. I know it's late. I hope you had a great day. It is Sunday, and a beautiful day here. And why am I calling this Trump? Because 976 days since Richard vanished from the barracks there at Fort Bliss in El Paso, Texas. And yesterday, I talked about Robert E. Lee. I talked about Robert the Bruce. I talked about descendants, right? And what that means. I talked about some history. And I know that we don't get a lot of history today. And and that's our problem. We don't get a lot of history. And so we're not prepared for times such as this if we don't have some history behind us. We don't have something to stand upon, a firm foundation when you're in a situation like find Richard Halliday, when your son goes missing and you absolutely know that something is not right, because instead of rallying around him and trying to find where he is, they start intimidation tactics. They start smear tactics. They so they start asymmetric warfare tactics. They start army operations, military operations against Richard, against the people team Find Richard Halliday. It's 10 o'clock. Yep, the bell tolls on that one. They go into a military operations, and I want to talk about some history, because we had some leaks today that, and I would like to know this. I'm addressing this to Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. And I tend to believe the leaks on this one. And I get lots of leaks. I get lots of people telling me all kinds of things all the time. And it's very hard to discern what's the truth, what's a lie, who is manipulating, who is an FBI informant, who's a political pundit. But as time has gone by, I feel like I've been weeding it out slowly but surely. And I tend to know, not all, but pretty much who is who. And this lead that came today, I think is, this tip, I think is very, very telling, because we met with Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe several times. I looked into his eyes. I and I absolutely believe that he was up to no good. I believe his SJA was up to no good. I believe that entire task force Find Richard Halliday was sabotaged and he was one of the saboteurs. I believe that his team was ordered by him to be saboteurs in the case of Find Richard Halliday, because he would not have acted in the way that he did, as charming as he is, because he's very charming, right? He went to charm school. I haven't been to charm school, so that should tell you that the lessons I've learned have come from my family. But he's been to a political charm school, and you can tell. And he doesn't say anything, he doesn't do anything unless his SJA, which is his lawyer, those are the lawyers, are right beside him. And that was very, very interesting, because you could tell that they were more concerned about the smear campaign on Richard than getting to the facts of what happened to Richard and where he is. 100%. It was so clear. And I was very patient. I thought, okay, they don't know Richard like we know Richard. And so they probably have to deal with a lot of nonsense. So let's, try and try and try. And so for months we were trying, but it became very, very clear what was going on when we caught our liaison engaging in asymmetric warfare tactics against us. When we found out about the military police guard mount being sent, some senior leader, maybe it was sent by Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, maybe it was General McConville, maybe it was General Garrett, maybe it was Lieutenant General Donna Martin, who sent the senior leader to the MP, the military police guard mount there on Fort Bliss, to smear Richard groundlessly. Richard has been combed over, okay, with 80 plus subpoenas and warrants, which had to come through the prosecutor, Jaime Esparza. Are you getting it now? I'm finally getting it. And we don't know who the judge is to approve those subpoenas and warrants. And so, but our tip today, because I go off on tangents sometimes, but our tip today was that the team reported that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, when he was at Fort Bliss and they were in a meeting about Find Richard Halliday, all he was concerned about was not having a Vanessa Guillen situation. That means they didn't want to find the body. They didn't want to find Richard's remains. That's what that means to me. They didn't want to find him. So they wanted to sabotage the search for him. Because at that point, I clearly told them that it did not make sense to me that Richard would walk away. It did not make sense to me that all of these, the other leads, they didn't make sense. The Danae Katzen lead that Richard, she was out on a date and the soldier had Richard's credit card and he was down in Mexico. They weren't concerned about that lead at all. I told her I wanted to hear more about that he was in Cancun, Mexico with a girl. That was pretty outrageous. We believed that something was up. And so we were just trying to get more and more information. You can go back and look at it, at everything, to get a true picture of what was going on at that time, because we were so in the dark. But Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe was not in the dark, y'all. He knew about Leilani Hart's complaints and the rest of the Hart family complaints. He knew that that Richard's file was leaked. He knew, and see, there is this discussion going on all day today about when did Tavita Nusa, because where was he? Where was he when Richard disappeared? Right? Where was he? Do they know? And when did he lose his badge? That's been kind of like the discussion today, because we have sources that have told us different things, and it's still a little confusing, because we were told that the CID and these FBI, well, the CID complaint that was referred to the FBI was helped along by Tavita Nusa. So Leilani Hart had this relationship with Tavita Nusa, and that this complaint was helped along so that it would be accepted by the CID, that it would be referred then to the FBI. And that's why there is a CID case number for it and also an FBI case number for it. That's what I understand. You can correct me. So when I heard about all of this, I did some calling around, and what I was told was that the files were accessed in order to create that complaint. Now, I don't know. That's what I was told. And who am I to be the judge? Who am I to be the CID investigator, to be the FBI investigator, to be the attorney general, to be the inspector general? The prosecutor. Who am I to be the prosecutor? I'm not any of them. I'm the mom. And I was told, bring us the leads, get us the leads, give us the leads. That means you have to investigate to get leads. So if anyone is mad, like Tavita Nusa or Leilani Hart or Dallas Hart or James Hart or, that whole gang that has been bullying us and harassing us and intimidating us and threatening us, threatening our family. Don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at Team Find Richard Halliday. We did what we were told. We were told in those meetings. We were told by the CID. We were told in those meetings with Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, with the CID, with, the Command Sergeant Major. We were told to bring leads. So they put us in harm's way. They put us in the situation that we would get intimidated. Matter of fact, it was our liaison that participated in the bullying. The tracing of the phone numbers of these vile, vulgar messages that we received for months are very interesting where they go back to. So this was definitely an operation behind the scenes. This is why I believe this tip, this lead that says that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe, his goal was not to get justice, not to find out what happened to our son, not to find Richard, not to find the remains of our son. And we're told the remains were found. So are they keeping the remains from us? Are they keeping our son's remains? Have they destroyed our son's remains after finding Richard? Where are Richard's remains? Because we have been told by the father-in-law of the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, this is not anybody, okay? The lieutenant colonel in the G3 is a big deal. That's Richard's command. That is Richard's operational order producing factory for the military. That's where the orders come out of. And I try to explain it to people that it's the wedding planner. It's not the musicians. It's not the bridal dress or the tailors. It's not the cake maker. It's not the caterers. This is the wedding planners. They're the ones that give the orders. They're the ones, and they're very difficult to make. People don't understand when you give a military operational order, you have to put it together so that it is the official stand of the United States Army. Okay? That you are giving an order that is the official stance of the United States Army. So whatever Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe ordered, whatever he talked about to his staff, that now was leaked out, that what he said was they don't want another Vanessa Guillen situation because leaders lost their job. It made the Army look bad. It made the Department of Defense look bad. But they don't understand. They're so out of touch. It's not what happened to Vanessa Guillen that made the Army look bad. That crime was outrageous. Outrageous. And there should be justice in that. And I don't think there's full justice in that case. All right? I don't think there's full justice in that case. So it was the way the CID handled it. It was the way the Army handled it. Here comes a family that says, wait a minute, our loved one, our daughter, our sister, she can't be missing. She can't be AWOL. She can't be AWOL. She's not a deserter. Why aren't you looking for her? We have real concerns because here's her things. Right? She would not go. They would not respond in urgency. And this is after Caleb Smither. So you have a soldier that dies in the barracks and is not checked on, and he is rotting to the 5th stage of decomposition. And that is just like mind-boggling at Fort Bragg. Mind-boggling. And Fort Hood, the DOD doesn't take a lesson when, we need to be vigilant, especially during COVID. We need to be vigilant when someone is something is not right and someone goes missing and someone is AWOL. Let's check. Let's be right on top of everything. Let's do that 48-hour. Let's click heels together. Let's have extreme esprit de corps. Let's have a good buddy system. Because we can't have our soldiers rotting to the 5th stage of decomposition in our barracks room. Okay? We can't have that. So what happened at Fort Hood was the response from the leadership. I mean, the crime itself, absolutely outrageous. But you need to put the death penalty seriously on the table for something like that, right? Seriously on the table, and you need to make a spectacle out of getting justice to scare the hell out of anyone else that wants to sexually harass one of our service members, that wants to rape one of our service members, that wants to bludgeon them to death in their face in the armory, and then somehow contort their body to fit in a pelican case and magically clean up this armory, and then put that case in the back of their car and drive out to the Leon River and then start chopping up the body and burning it and digging a foxhole, putting her burnt body bludgeoned pieces in there, then put lime on it. Oh yeah, let's go to the hardware store, get some lime, get some concrete, and then don't forget to put some brush over it. I mean, okay, I'm going to Google this. How to hide a murder, how to hide a body, and the response from our Department of Defense, the response from the military leadership is what was more outrageous, because they greenlit, they were so sloppy. They were so messy. They were so cold-blooded. They had no esprit de corps. They didn't care. All they wanted to do was cover their butts. They didn't think about that family. They didn't think about that poor service member. They didn't think about anything like that. All they thought about was their stars, their stripes, their future. They didn't think about the future of the Army. They didn't think about the future of our service members. They didn't think about the defense of our country. How this would hurt the defense of our country. And that's why there's no justice in that case. That's why they didn't make a spectacle out of it. They should have made a huge spectacle and get to the bottom of it, and everyone would have seen it, and they would have said, yes, we have leaders that care about our service members, and it would have given a big message to every psychopath criminal out there that wants to hurt one of our service members. But that's not what happened. And now we have the same thing at Fort Bliss with Richard. And I will never forget Hema Sochil writing me at the beginning and saying, I don't even want to repeat it, but that Richard was no Vanessa Guillen. So here she is leaking out what they're ordering. They're ordering Richard cannot be a Vanessa Guillen. We cannot do this. So where are the remains of my son? Where is the Department of Justice? Their response has been absolutely criminal. And let me tell you, if I was Department of Justice, I would absolutely arrest Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. I would definitely, with a whole host of them, arrest them for endangering our country, for endangering our service members, for perpetuating crime, super duper crime. Because let me tell you, they knew about this CID report that was notarized, and the notary called us, okay? The notary called us. And what did that notary say? He notarized it on July 22nd, 2020. Other things were said too. So that was the day before Richard went missing. And then when we got word of the leak, because we knew there were leaks. You see, we knew because of Hema Sochil, because of Corinne Adeline West. We knew there were leaks through other things. So we knew that this stunk, that this was sloppy, that there was something going on behind the scenes. Because we knew through the leaks and through some little honest statements, like from Command Sergeant Major Jakovitz, he was a nervous wreck, y'all. He was not a happy man. He was nervous. He was shaky. We called him Shaky Jake. Why is he shaking so bad? And then they go, oh, he has a medical. No, no, no. This is Command Sergeant Major. And it was bigger than that. And we found out that he had a meeting at the theater to tell the troops that are supposed to have esprit de corps, that are supposed to never leave a troop behind, a soldier behind, that are supposed to be an army of one, that are supposed to have the Medal of Honor ethos, right? That are supposed to be all you can be. And he told them, you're not allowed to talk to this family. You are not allowed to talk to the media. You can't say any. They shut them up and wear those masks. Wear those masks and don't talk to anybody except for us and the CID, because we don't want another Vanessa Guillen situation. And we absolutely. Now, I added that last bit, okay? I added that last bit, but that could have been said because we got a leak today. That was said at a Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe's meeting. Like, hey, I don't care what you guys do, but we can't have another Vanessa Guillen situation. Why didn't he say that to me in all those meetings and phone calls? Why didn't he say that to me? Because he was not, one time he was looking for Richard, and that was at Christmas, and that was right there in the mock Afghanistan training area, village area. Kamal Jabul Jabul, right? Right there. And he didn't get on the phone and say, hello, Mrs. Halliday. This is Major General. He was a Major General at the time. Major General Sean Bernabe. I don't want to alarm you, but I have my people looking for your son's remains during Christmas. So if you hear something, don't be alarmed. We didn't get calls like that. No. We take underage drinking seriously. That is punitive. Okay, whatever. It was so insulting. So insulting. And if I knew then what I know now, I would have known to be more insulted. But I actually was trusting him, trying to trust him. But it just got stinkier and stinkier and stinkier. Sloppier and sloppier and sloppier. And now we find out the 22nd of July, the day before Richard went missing, they've got reports. And those reports, now this is the big question. Because I have testimony that says that CID report of sexual abuse with children, all kinds of stuff in there, y'all, all kinds of stuff, was put together by the files that were leaked. That means they leaked the files before Richard went missing. And according to our timeline, that makes sense. And the reason why is because so many things happened in 2019. I think all of this stuff happened in 2019. 2020 with the FTXs, with the hospital stay, with the border incident, with 45 days of extra duty. Richard would not have any time with being in the field. That's February, March, hospital stay, then the the FTX again, then coming out, then the 45 days of extra duty. It doesn't make sense. And from what we have, it all happened in 2019. That's what I believe. Because the apologies from him, the geez, this is too big. This is too big for me. We're in January of 2020, I believe. And then there was something like, okay, I'm just going to use him then. He apologized, I'll just use him. And then because of these leaked files, because of, I think, threats, turmoil going on, something had to cause Leilani Hart to want to be so serious to put together a very compelling CID report that would be referred to the FBI. It had to be very serious. And she had to have, and did Tavita help her? Because Tavita Nusa, who, very, very close relationship, he knew how to get that kind of report to be very serious, to be referred to the FBI. And do you need to have multiple backup for everything that you're saying? And that's why Richard's file was needed. So now so that's why we believe, and I'm just going to round that out, why we believe that the files were leaked before the 22nd of July, 2020. Now, there's another way you can look at this, is that you put in those complaints, and then there's a trouble. There's trouble because if they indict, if they allege your son, let's see, if First Lieutenant Dallas Hart is getting in trouble because of what is being alleged in this, maybe the mother wants to backtrack a little bit, and so she's looking at Richard's file, wanting Richard's file to somehow, maybe, I don't know, manipulate things to clear up her son or something like this, right? I don't know. It just doesn't flow. What do you think? Please give me your opinion. So we are just, we're brainstorming here how this could happen, because we absolutely know that these CID complaints that went to the FBI were notarized on the 22nd of July, 2020, the day before Richard went missing, and also the day before the change of command. I think people need to remember that Richard went missing on the day of command, which is the day of the change of command, which is very interesting. And my husband points that out. So, either way, if we're right, and the witness testimony that we have that says that those files were made using those complaints, because we know that the complaints were out there for a while. Richard did not turn in those complaints when he was doing 45 days of extra duty. He was not turning in complaints when he was doing the FTXs. He was not turning in complaints when he was in the hospital. That didn't happen. So when did he turn in those complaints? That would be really nice if the CPS, if the Department of Justice, if Jaime Esparza would somehow, if they would somehow tell the CPS to honor our FOIA, and then we would know, right? That would fill in that hole. But they don't want us to know. And that's why, because if it's after Richard went missing, okay, then that makes the command look a little less bad, right? But they don't want those CPS complaints released. So to me, that is another reason why that Tavita Nusa leaked the files to Leilani Hart. And I know by doing this for 976 days, minus 36, 940 days today, with my husband, with Team Find Richard Halliday, how difficult it is. You have to think things through when you're writing letters, when you're putting in a complaint to authorities, right? You don't want to put in a false statement. And sometimes, because of the way your point of view is and that, you have to double check yourself all the time. And that's why I come on live every day and talk about this, because I want everyone to help me make sure that I get other people's points of view, right? That we get everyone's points of view, that we get good questions in, we get people's testimony. You have my number. You can call me. You can correct me. And, you know, some of those corrections I've gotten lately are, I think, CYA. But absolutely correct from your point of view, from your experiences, because everybody has their careers. And anyway, I've pretty much made that point over and over again. So what happened with Tavita Nusa? They had to have really, I think it would have taken a long time to put together a comprehensive complaint that would be accepted by the CID and then referred to the FBI. I think so. Because, why do I say that? Because the Hart family has a history of these types of complaints. So if 2019 is not going to work, and that was a whopper of a year, and if 2006, when did all these happen? 2015, 2006, all the way back to the 1990s, if those complaints are not going to work, and no one's going to do anything, and it's a cover-up job, then how are you going to get anyone to pay attention? You have to really put some effort into it, and I think that they did. And I don't know. That makes sense to me. For her to have her complaint notarized on the 22nd of 2020 about all kinds of terrible child sex abuse, okay? All kinds. Terrible. And then somehow want to backpedal on that because her son's in big trouble now. Because look, child sex crime, even today, with all of the insanity, is still a crime. And a very serious crime. Praise God. Praise God. And I think that First Lieutenant Hart would have been arrested. Not only would he been thrown out, but he would have been arrested. He would have had to go through court-martial. And, so where are all of these connections that can tell us what happened here? Because if this was a serious complaint, and I believe it was, because I was told by someone that was worried about these complaints. I I just phew, phew. But where is the accountability for the false claim? If what Leilani Hart wrote with the help of Tavita Nusa, I really believe it was with the help of Tavita Nusa. Please, Tavita Nusa, give me a call. If you are totally innocent in all of this, I mean, I know that you lost your badge. I think that the military was very slow in taking that badge. Because look at what they've done with Vanessa Guillen's case, with Enrique Roman Martinez's case, what they did with Austin Hawk's case, which was so right there easy. If you want an easy case to prosecute, Austin Hawk's was easy. Boom, boom, boom. And they plea dealed on it. They plea dealed on Austin Hawk's case. I just can't get over that. It drives me absolutely crazy, because it shows you that Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe would absolutely be in that spirit of collusion, of conspiracy, of no good, to say we can't have another Vanessa Guillen, and do whatever he could to cover this up. And if all that happened 22nd of July 2020, he absolutely knew. And that explains why the father-in-law of Lieutenant Colonel Bugado in the G3 of the 32nd ADCOM, when he told the cashier that he was with the FBI, so that means he's most likely an FBI informant, that the FBI were looking for Richard in Juarez, and they found him, meaning his remains, and it wasn't good. He's dead. Shh. That explains the shh, because then Lieutenant Colonel Bugado was ordered to shh, and everybody else shh. You can't say anything. And then why in the world would First Sergeant Jay Paulin do what he did? Why would First Sergeant Ruggiero do what he did? Why would Command Sergeant Major do what he did? Why would Major General Clem Coward? I really believe he has a big part in this, and he has a big part in this. Why would he do what he did? And why was it shh, or we'll try to charm this, we'll try to smear this? First it was a charm, then it was a smear, then it was, wow, we need to use asymmetric warfare tactics, then it was full-on military operations, to try to sabotage Fine Richard Halliday. And, leaks everywhere and sloppiness. And, when you are on the wrong side, you have to understand the stars in their course fought against Sisera. If you're on Sisera's side, you have no chance, because the stars are against you. And it's going to come out. And it's so heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking, the cold-bloodedness. And I think there should be lots of arrests. Because how many more of our service members have to die? How unprepared does our military have to be? Because if we have no esprit de corps, my dad made that very clear to me. If we have no esprit de corps, we don't have a military fighting force. If we will sell each other out, if we will sell out the families, we have no defense. We have no defense. And then it's clear that the defense is then has another purpose. So I wrote on a on a social media today. I was just seeing what my response would be. But I said our federal military needs to be disbanded. And then our National Guards from each state, the governor needs to strengthen. Each and every state needs to strengthen their National Guard, and that's what we need to have for defense, because our defense right now, our federal defense coming out of the federal government, out of that control, out of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, they're just sucking the money, and they are not defending us. Matter of fact, they're killing us. When you have this bright idea to have the barracks co-ed, and then to make them marketplaces for illegal drugs, and then you bring in girls during the COVID lockdown and supply all the right beside is a class 6, so you just have flowing with all kinds of drugs, all kinds of alcohol, and you want to party all day long starting at 11 o'clock, and then you have captains that want to rear puppies that belong to these really sick sex cults, doggy sex cults, where they dehumanize the person. I have that written down here. I thought that was really, let's see, I have so many things written down. I thought that was, oh yeah, here it is. Dehumanizes a person because of this mask, and then you have the alpha and the beta and the shifting of responsibility to the animal. It's like an animal nature. I'm not a human anymore. I'm an animal. And so I can have this animal sexual behavior without any kind of responsibility. And these people have our security. These people have top secret access. This was a colonel. That is one below a field officer, a one below a 1-star general. And he's acting this way. Okay, so that brings me to why I called this Trump, because Trump had a rally yesterday, and I want to play, let's see if I have it. Do I have it? Let's see if I have it. Let me put it up. He had a rally yesterday in Waco, and he talked about the dehumanization or the weaponization of the Department of Justice. And I thought that was right on. And he should know. He's been under that kind of scrutiny, that kind of, I'm thinking this guy is pretty clean. He's pretty clean. Because of all the audits that he's been through, the IRS audits. Yesterday, I showed you his financials from 2015. And then yesterday he said this. I made a TikTok. So let's see. Let's see if I can show it. There we go. Okay, here it is. Whoops. Okay. Here we
The
go.
weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle. This is the central issue of our time. I think it's one of the biggest issues.
Let's play it again.
The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle. This is the central issue of our time. I think it's one of the biggest issues.
Let's watch that one more time.
The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle. This is the central issue of our time. I think it's one of the biggest issues.
And I don't think it's the biggest issue. I know it's the biggest issue because St. Augustine said a land without justice is just a criminal syndicate, is just a band of robbers. And that's where we're at today. And I don't want to live in a land that is ruled by a criminal syndicate, just a band of robbers, right? And that's where the next people come into play. And here they are. Let me turn this off so you don't hear my computer. But this is who we wrote, and we're still waiting for an acknowledgement from Jose Luis Gonzalez. Now, he could at least say, I received this email. You might have the wrong department, or please refer that complaint or that your thoughts to this. And then, of course, Gregory McDonald, the chief of border crimes, because I think this is a border issue, and this makes it worse than Vanessa Guillen's because of the map I'm about to show you. But let's go through this. He should absolutely acknowledge that he got an email, and I know I had his email right. Ian Martinez, Hannah, major crimes. This is a major crime. But see, this lack of response is, I think, what is narcotics. Absolutely, this has to do with narcotics, because any kind of child trafficking, child sex trafficking, child sex pornography involves drugs. Okay? And then Michael Williams also. And where are they? Where is even their acknowledgement? And so if you go to this website, the Western District of Texas, you can go here and you can put in your complaints. If you're wondering why there are so many problems, you don't have to wonder too long. You've got these people here that are not even acknowledging Find Richard Halliday, right? That absolutely we have major, major questions for them. So, if you're wondering, okay, let me play this one. Let me stay on target. So here's the map. Before we go to the map. So here's the Attorney General. You can write the Attorney General, Merrick Garland. He should know about this whole case. And does he not want another Vanessa Guillen? It's not about wanting another Vanessa Guillen. It's about doing the right thing. It's about doing your job. It's about justice. And we want to know what happened to our son, which we have a pretty good picture now. And we would like the remains of our son returned. If they've destroyed the remains of our son, God help them. They just put a millstone around their neck and they can just throw themselves in the abyss in the biblical sense. Because I don't even want to go in to tell you the specialties that Tavita Nusa has, what kind of job his brother has, who has been involved in this. You know, when you have like mortuary affairs involved in this, and then Merrick Garland doesn't want to give us answers. Cold-blooded. I think they need to put up, or what do you do? What do you do? This is our son. We are such a nonviolent family. They have put us in such a terrible situation because they told us to get the leads, get the leads. Now we know all this stuff. It's so rotten to the core. It has to do with hurting little children, ruining families, being absolutely debauched, covering it up because it has to do with an active duty family, and active duty service members, and active duty service members' children. And I'm just thinking this is worse than Vanessa Guillen's case. That's Michael E. Horowitz is the Inspector General, and he could help. But see, Trump was right. They've weaponized the Department of Justice. They've weaponized the Department of Defense. They've weaponized the FBI. That whole January 6th, we were there. We were there. We know it was a setup. We absolutely know it was a setup, and it was not an insurrection. When you have people there praying the Lord's Prayer, singing God Bless America, trying to stay warm on a very wet, cold day, children there, people in wheelchair, people in strollers, trying to keep warm, people there trying to make sure that we have a true democracy, that we are allowed to recount, that we are allowed to pass out flyers and have a free voice, or try to get some media to pay attention to the missing soldier, pass out prayer candles. But then you have politics that have been weaponized against their own people. And they will say, oh, well, maybe we're Democrats and those are a bunch of Republicans. Well, I don't believe that. And we are one people. We are Americans. We're Americans. And I can tell you right now, I think there were some Democrats, registered Democrats there, that felt that things were being threatened, and they wanted to make sure. And watch my video, because I said, why wouldn't Biden win it? Because if he's a legitimate winner, he needs it to be very clear that he is the winner. And we need to convince all of these people. But he didn't want it. It's just like Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe. If he really wanted to find Richard, he would have kept his promise to be on the media every month. Every month be on the media. He wouldn't have given up, but he gave up on Richard so quick. And he allowed the smearing of Richard. And he allowed the asymmetric warfare. I think he ordered it. So that means he weaponized the asymmetric warfare group. He weaponized definitely others to sabotage the search for Richard. And I just think, do these people not have a conscience? Do they not fear God at all? Do they not have a faith in God? Poor them. Poor them. To go along with these kinds of orders. And I can tell you right now, why Richard was retaliated against, because Richard wasn't poor in spirit. He was strong. And he wouldn't put up with it. And he didn't put up with it. And it was a Vanity Fair. It's all a Vanity Fair for my next. And you know, Major General Sean Bernabe got his 3rd star. Vanity Fair. I hope he's happy shining it. Oh, he doesn't shine it. He has staff that shines it. I hope he's happy with his Vanity Fair at the expense of our volunteer sons and daughters of this republic. And the same thing with this Inspector General, and the same thing with the Attorney General, and the same thing with Jaime Esparza, and the same thing with Gregory McDonald, and all of them. The one person, there's been several, but one person lately that has a backbone, that has a stand, is the notary. Praise God for the notary. Where is Tavita Nusa in all of this? To voluntarily tell us what happened. Where was he the day Richard went missing? He had access, y'all. And he has unique skills. And he has connections. Access, unique skills, and connections. Where, and to me, if it all happened before 2020, the 22nd of July, 2020, then, oh my goodness, they all knew. And fraud has been perpetrated on everybody that has helped in this case find Richard Halliday. Everybody has been injured. Everybody has been injured because people have worked so hard, given their time, given their money. I just can't even tell you. And they knew all along. And they're covering it up because they don't want to relinquish their star. They don't want justice. They don't care about This is Veronica Escobar too. Veronica Escobar met with Major General, Lieutenant General Sean Bernabe numerous times. She's testifying in Congress that she cares about the military. She doesn't care about the military. We haven't heard from her since 2020. And I've been on here. I'm trying to be the squeakiest wheel possible. Thank you. So let's look at the map. I've added some things. Okay, so, and I should have, I need to add more, but this little area here is very interesting. This is like road. If you want, yeah. And then if you take this road, like you're coming down here and you take this road and you're following it down here, you come right to New Casa Grandes. And New Casa Grandes, remember I told you, it has that Chinese plaza. So what's going on? I'm hearing things about things, and all of a sudden this Mormon stronghold has a Chinese plaza. Right there. Here it is. I'll show it to you. It's a little creepy. It's a little creepy. To me. To me. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. But to me, it's something. Because this is where Mitt Romney's father was born, in this area right here. Colonial Juarez, this beautiful area. Absolutely. They have a golf course right near here. Let's see. Yeah, I think it's right in here. There's a golf course. Maybe I can't find it right now. But this is all like super lush. When you go down to the ground and you see this, the recreation, the mountains, these are parks up here. There's historical areas that are amazing. And of course, oh yeah, maybe I went too far. Maybe it's not as far to drive. The golf course. What is this here? I thought it was maybe a racetrack, but this here is the temple. Let's go down, visit the temple. Absolutely spectacular. Spectacular. Okay. And then right here, let's see, where is the school? There's the, I think it's right here. Yeah. Got it. And I could have gone here too, because this is the grade school. This is a grade school. This is a fantastic place. Oh my gosh. 1904. It's a boarding school, so they have to keep it safe. Let's see, I want to look here. You can't just wander around. You only get certain shots. There's a temple in the background. This has the fencing now, so that's some security, so that's good. Anyway, I just think it's strange. It's so strange that you have a 3.5 hour drive, 3 hour drive to this area here, and then, another 30-40 minutes up to Santa Teresa from, let's say, Academy Juarez, the school. And, if you want to use this area a lot, you would live over here, you would live right in here. I think that is, they told us to be investigators. They told us to bring them leads. This is a lead. This is a lead. How can you have an orphanage, a child shelter, and another orphanage right there? Right where we were told Richard's remains would be found. We were told I would never even look there. But because we were told to turn at the OXXO towards Juarez, go down Santa Teresa, turn at the OXXO towards Juarez, and go to kilometer 30. And in this area, you will find Richard's remains. This is where they threw him out, and what do you find? A horse ranch, and then 1, 2, orphanages, right? 2 orphanages, because this is the area right in here. This area right here. We were told this area. We were told this area. This area here. And there's 2 orphanages and a child shelter. Crazy. And then this area also, this is interesting. They're using it for the wind power. Okay. Probably nothing. Probably nothing, right? I'm just saying this is interesting. This needs to be looked at, because if the charges and allegations are child sex trafficking, are child pornography, this would be interesting. If Leilani Hart is right, if 2019 is right, 16 or 15, 2006, all the way back to 1990s, if all of those allegations are right, this is interesting. Something's going on. And something is being protected. Big money is being protected. And I don't think that Richard knew this area right here. This big area right here. Is the area where they do their training. This is where Lieutenant General Brett Abbey was looking for the remains of Richard. We're told that they're in different places. Did he find some? Give me his arm. Give me his... Oh, God. People need to be arrested. We're at the point where absolutely the criminals are us. The criminals are the military, is the DOD, the Department of Justice, the CID, the FBI. That's who the criminals are. The people that we've been supporting our whole life have betrayed us. The people that we supported, my husband even volunteered with for 30 years, put his life in danger. Anyway. And then you have the likes of a first sergeant saying, my husband never wore the boots. Medics are like huge casualty. When your job is to get the injured off the field in a track vehicle, by running with a litter, you're putting your life in danger. And I'm talking to these people because they have combed through my husband's records, and I think they're shocked because has so much integrity, is so respected, has honor, served bravely in dangerous situations. I think they're shocked. Anyway. Okay, y'all, take questions. I want to tell you that I don't rehearse these, and so taking questions is really important. Okay, I'm going to turn it all down. I know you can do it on this. I think you can do it on this. Yeah. I put up the maps so people can correct them. 11. Danielle. If the military isn't trying to cover anything up, then why isn't there media coverage, press releases? Thank you. Thank you. That is, and he promised. He said, until Richard is found, I will release press every month. That wasn't followed. Just like the crabby empath stated, my opinion. Yes. You know, I'm not a big card reader person, but I'm telling you, she is a hero in this because when nobody would cover it, when nobody would put information out, she did. And she did multiple times. And I am forever grateful to her for that. And she also opened my mind to the criminal possibilities because it wasn't until I watched her and her card reading that I entertained the real possibility of the retaliation and crime being part of this. Um, in that respect, like a bullying gang kind of thing. And so, wow, I was wondering, who does she know? What did she know? um, but she must have she has some insight. Let's just say that. Lack of response seems to be criminal any way you look at it, in my opinion. Yes. Where is the post office in Casa Grande? Oh, where is the post office in Casa Grande? I'll look that up. It's not so easy to do it for me. It takes me a little bit of time. So I will definitely do that for you and look that up. Okay. If the let's see, find Richard Halliday. Yes, just like, yep. And it's so weird how these comments. Fox News, let's say his name. Keep it out there. Yes, absolutely, Fox. Absolutely. And I think the social media, the really big social media sites, and I'm thinking about trying to call in to them because I know that I called in at the very beginning of all of this because I do want to reach out to Donald Trump at this point because of this election cycle and because he's talking about the weaponization of the Department of Justice. I think that that would be, um, I think that that would be worth it. Um, just to, geez, if he would even put out a truth about Find Richard Halliday, can you imagine the light that it would shine on this case? So, yeah, I think I'm gonna do that, and I've already had tried to reach out. So, but we have some other things because it's so criminal, y'all. We have other things behind the scenes. If what I know, if the person that told me that they used the files to create this CID report is telling the truth, can you imagine? They knew all along. They knew all along. And that's why they never contacted us. They didn't want to contact us. That's why they were ready to be in cover up mode. And with Vanessa's case, they had learned some lessons. And yeah, yep. And they didn't want another Vanessa Guillen. So, wowzer. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much. God bless you. And I will be back tomorrow, God willing. And we'll every day until we find Richard.